I'm your moderator for today. We have 5 remarkable speakers for you to offer with their talented lectures. So without much ado, I'd like to show you the event rundown first before we introduce our speakers. Can I have the rundown, please? Or shall I submit? Yes, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, host. So I'd like to see the rundown here. The event rundown for today is we will have a prayer after this. Okay, we will have a welcoming speech. And then guest speakers, introduction by moderators. So I will be introducing each one of the speakers. The speakers are Mr. Mudit Subsekcharon from Thailand, and then we have Mr. Daniel Vieira from Portugal, and we have Miss Dr. Maliga Marimutu from India, and Dr. Safwan from Indonesia, and we have Miss Ina Malati. She's the PhD candidate. So prior to the starting of the prayer, we would like to invite the prayer for us to lean a little bit and then remember and contemplate to our God. Thank you. Please, host. If we can start, Can we say our prayers for a few minutes to make sure that our event will start and run smooth? Okay, the prayer starts. Thank you. Amin. Yes. Can we welcome the speech, a welcoming speech from Venus, which will be given by Ibu Ratno? Is Ibu Ratno here today? Can I invite Ibu Ratno? Hello, Ibu Ratno. Would you like to start your speech? Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day, everybody. I'm Ratno Dewanti as the Manager of Community Development of Venus University, representing Rector of Venus University, to welcome all guest speakers of the virtual international conference series organized by Community Development Academic, Venus University, on November 10, 11, 13, 16, 17, 19, 2020. Our gratitude to Sara Marino from Mexico, Professor Yusria Al-Hamshari from Egypt, Natividad Dulce di Madraso, Philippines, Azuba Azwal Imdad from Pakistan, Professor Dato Hasna Harun from Malaysia, Chris Bruderlin from Australia, Pervin Telavia Matchmaker from India, Omar Beretta from Argentina, Verona Mendrova from United States, Neng Priyanti, SPD MED ME from Indonesia, Larissa Zazeva from Russia, Agustina from Estonia, Dr. Maliga Marimutu from Australia, Marsan Isbayu Putra from Indonesia, Mudit Subsekcharon from Thailand, Jema Jallara from Philippines, Daniel Vieira from Portugal, Mila Andrea Savitri from Indonesia, Hamis Foster from New Zealand, Ratno Dewanti, PhD from Indonesia, Dr. Nura Abdul El-Wab Dakhail from Egypt, Dramen from Burkina Faso, Dr. Kais Khan from India, Octaviana Silvia Caroline, STM Arts from Indonesia, Dr. Pantri Haryati, SEM Com from Indonesia. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all international speakers for their willingness to contribute in this event, and also to all participants who attend this virtual conference. Let me tell you in advance regarding the objective of organizing this virtual international conference series. In words, building good cooperation with colleagues in higher education and global community to care about sustainable development goals. In a second, giving insight on the challenges faced by the society nowadays. In third, and providing opportunities to college students, lecturers, practitioners, non-governmental organizations, and other communities to support each other and improve their expertise in raising industrial era 4.0. As we all know, Indonesia is a developing country, and currently its development is facing various challenges in terms of economy, social, and environment. In the SDGs program, PNUS is committed to empowering communities in a sustainable manner. For these reasons, PNUS has continuously initiated various events, including organizing virtual international conference series that focuses on community service, which is expected to develop people's insight and capacities in order to increase the mastery of skills needed by the community itself and can provide benefits to the environment, social and economy of the world community. As we all know, the world is currently being stricken by the COVID-19 pandemic, which has an impact on the economy, social, and environment, resulting in new patterns that may not have been thought of before. Therefore, this event is expected to be a forum for ASEAN and world communities to create new initiatives resulting in concentrate examples that emphasize the contribution of sustainable world development. Currently, Venus has established partnerships with other universities in the world, spread across 31 countries and 5 continents, as well as more than 500 local and international industries, as well as partnering with many NGOs throughout the world and other communities. The focus of CSR activities carried out by Binus University refer to 9 points in the SDGs, namely no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, and partnership for the goals. Social activities carried out by Binus University are part of the corporate social responsibility framework, which is manifested through its commitment to improving community welfare. All social activities carried out by BINOS are seen as innovation in the implementation of CSR according to program objective, so that BINOS is recognized by the community as being able to provide economic, social, and environment benefits. This is proven by the several awards that have been reserved by BINOS regarding the success of its CSR program. Finally, my gratitude for the contribution of all speakers from various partner countries of BINOS University, and thanks to all participants who attended this virtual conference series event. We are very proud of all of you and happy joining the conference. Success to all of you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Ratno PhD. We have to carry on with our speech today. Would like to invite the first speaker now to the floor to give his speech. His name is. Can we have the slides here? An introduction about the first speaker, Mr. Mudit from Thailand. His complete name is Mr. Mudit Subsekcharan. Yes. So Mr. Mudit was born in India, raised in Japan, and is now in Thailand. In 2012, he worked for Bon Appetit Management Company as an accounting intern in San Francisco and California. Then he was as an energy consultant at Star Energy Partners in San Francisco also. He consulted homeowners on energy and cost-saving options. And currently, he is in Zilingo.com. Zilingo is a mobile marketplace that redefines the way people shop in Southeast Asia. And he is the marketing manager for Zilingo.com. He's also a business development manager at Mmsoft at the same time. So without much ado, we would like to welcome our first speaker, Mr. Mudit Subsekcharan. The floor is yours, Mr. Mudit. I hope you have a good time with BINOS University's audience.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me to speak here today. Yeah, I'm quite honored. I guess I'll just jump in with my, I'll open up my slides here. Cool, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, so thanks for inviting me to speak today on entrepreneurial leadership in today's organization. It's funny, I have to say, when I was asked to do this, I laughed at myself a little bit, because I was like, I don't think I have much entrepreneurial capabilities, but as I'll take you through some of my what I can speak of on my experience based on some of the jobs I've had and the different positions, and what it's been like working in different parts of the world. Yeah, so just a little bit about myself. So I guess I'm what you would call a third culture kid. I'm ethnically Indian. My family, however, has been in Thailand for almost a century now. Just migration, business, and not only that, I grew up primarily in Japan. And that kind of was as a result of expansion of business, and we kind of just went wherever there was business and sort of opportunity. And so yeah, it's always kind of been my experience. I've moved around, I've been around different cultures, and with that has also come some difficulties, but also some opportunities as well. For example, like I can't say I'm 100% Indian, but I can't say I'm 100% Thai either, or Japanese for that matter. But I kind of have a piece of me everywhere, and that's what has come to shape my experience today. I went to study in the States, in California, around 2010, and I was in the business industry. I was a business major, and that's what my focus was. And at the time, I didn't really know what I wanted to pursue. And there are a few fortunate people who really understand what it is they want to commit their life to, and what their passion is. And for myself, I couldn't really say I knew what I wanted to do, but I was always intrigued by different businesses that were around me. And every time I sort of dipped my toes into a new industry, I kind of it made me see the world in a completely different perspective. And it started with, of course, in college. I worked part-time to get through school as well, in my school's F&B company. So I did accounting, and so it for the first time, I kind of got to see beyond the behind the back door, and to see how everything sort of operates, from inventory to to management and to sales, and so it was quite an interesting experience. And as far as my first job out of college was in the solar energy industry, and that was quite a grueling process, for my personality, I would say. Going door to door in the States, and being in a country where you're a minority, and where most people are not very friendly to people who walk up to your door and are trying to offer you something of value, like solar energy at a cheaper rate. Is not a very easy thing, but it definitely taught me a lot more about pursuing and persevering, and trying to sell something that is also adding value in this world. And I have to say, in working in that industry, it really taught me a lot about, not only are we trying to solve a climate issue here and find a sustainable solution, but it's like, how do I develop my skills as an entrepreneur, as a business person, and try to add value here. And like it said in my introduction, I did actually work at Zilingo, and then I actually I stopped a while back. However, I do work at Mmsoft now, and so in working at Zilingo, it was a lot different. It was a mix between an e-commerce startup and the fashion industry. And so it was, when you have these, when you bring technology to these industries, it really changes the game quite a bit. And it was quite an interesting experience. And just to get current to where I am now, so I work for Mmsoft. We are a subsidiary of a company in Singapore. And so basically what we do is we video game distribution. So it comes to the consoles and to the software as well. Yeah, that's what we do mainly. And so what I'm going to go into later on is like these 3 key ideas, which have kind of shaped my experience till date. Yeah. Yeah, so for me, when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about, these kind of 3 keys came up to me. It was clarity, flow, and commitment. I wouldn't say I am necessarily a successful person in the entrepreneurial world, in a sense. I would say that most of my experience and what I've learned in a realistic way in running a business, and also trying to add value and has been from some of my failures and the mistakes that I've made along the way. And so, these three key ideas have really laid the foundation of my experience till date. Yeah, so the reason I wanted to talk about clarity, just to keep it simple, is that, this quote has been quite important to me. It's, it starts with vision and the clarity of vision. And something I often struggled with, especially when we first started Mmsoft, was really understanding where we're trying to get to, and that's where I see the importance of, in leadership, especially when you have a team, when you have people working underneath you, it's really, really important for them to understand what is where we're trying to head towards, right? And so for this company here in Thailand, our goal was to, for a long time, a lot of these kind of games that you see, like Nintendo, for example, it's a lot of them it's a gray market, and Southeast Asia has always been kind of like this, a gray market area, I think that's what has come with a lot of, the third world countries. But as you see now with the progress that's been made in Southeast Asia, we're now more known as an emerging economy, and that gap has been bridged. And so really for us, it was to figure out how can we officially do business in this country? How can we also add value to the customers we're serving in Thailand? And lastly, how can we also make a profit at the end of the day? How can we have a well-running business? And so that really was the key for me to understand when I first started this, and each market comes with its own set of challenges and opportunities, and so what the main thing when it came to clarity for me is really understanding what problem are we trying to solve here, and in another way of saying that is also how are we adding value here? What is the value we're trying to add? And so that's an important question that I think that anyone who is aspiring to be an entrepreneurial leader in today's world has to really understand is what problem are we trying to solve here, right? And with understanding that, it's like, do we have the resources capable of doing that? Is the market set up in a way that we can add value here? And so that's been a really key part of my perseverance, really, in trying to help Mmsoft grow. The next thing that has really been important in my journey so far has been flow. And another way you can say that is just operations. And this quote stood out to me. It's like a process cannot be understood by stopping it. Understanding it must move with the flow of the process, must join with it, and must flow with it. And so with flow and really understanding operations, really for me, I don't speak fluent Thai 100%. I certainly don't read and write at all. I've learned a bit now through my work experience. And I have to say, Google Translate is one of my best friends, really, like in communicating with all my clients, with government officials, and, because in my line of work, we have software and we have, gaming consoles, and we have to get the necessary approvals locally. And, when you're in a new market, of course, you need to be able to understand the locals and really not only be able to speak with them or communicate with them, but you really need to understand the process, and, I'm a citizen here, but I'm also like I was saying earlier, I'm a bit mixed. And so understanding, the legal processes in Thailand was really a big challenge for me, especially when something that ideally should take no more than a few weeks takes months. It's like, it takes a lot of patience and understanding. And in that, I had to float the process. For me, I do a lot of, like, we sell games, right? So being able to communicate and explain games to people has been a really key part of my job. And so people can review it, can censor it, and see, okay, for this game, we can give it an age rating of 13 and up, right? Or another game is more violent, we give it an age rating of 18 and up. And so in really understanding how to operate, I really had to just jump with both my feet in. And it's taken a lot of mistakes along the way. And in Thailand, you'd be surprised, but on even on one document, even if a letter is off or like a word, it completely stops the process, any sort of local approval. And so it's been quite a difficult, it's been quite a steep learning curve, and making a few mistakes that way. But really, if I were to tell any person who's getting into any new business, of course it's you not only must you understand how things operate, but you must really become one with it. You must really understand how it is people think and how it is they operate where you are. Yeah. So and so it kind of brought me along to the question of not only how can we improve this, but how can we enjoy this? And when it comes, if you're fortunate enough to know what you're passionate about and know how you can add value, then it's a really it's a good benefit, because part of having this constant feedback loop with yourself and with what the work that you're doing, it continuously needs to be improved. And I've kind of made it my business now to my personal goal to really understand how things operate on a very small level, from all the way from very basic tax laws to working with the government at a much more comprehensive level. And we've grown slowly over time, and it's been a steep learning curve, like I said. And so I think that with improving any process, it really takes continual effort and consistency. Yeah. And the last thing I would say is commitment, really. For myself, it's been an interesting journey because I work alone here in Thailand, and not only has it been challenging, but it has also been a bit eye-opening, especially because I graduated from college in 2014, and not really having had a few jobs here and there, and understanding a few different industries, when we think about certain businesses, we don't really know what goes on behind the scenes. And so like, just to give you an example, like, there's the new PlayStation 5 coming out, and people, all they really see is a finished product, but they do not really see the amount of the effort that goes into designing the box, to designing the internal hardware, to the color, the intellectual property, the local approvals in over 100 countries, in different zones, different languages. People don't really see that. And so there's one thing that I have to say, that being in this job alone for now, at least, has been I've had to push myself and be my own motivator. And so that's really been key. It's, I don't have a clock that I punch in and punch out all the time. There are days when there's a new game release that I have to be here till midnight. And that's a commitment that that's a guarantee that I set for myself and for my clients. And so it really brought me to the next question, which was, what standards do you want to set for yourself and others? And when I first started this job, I figured it would be, a very simple 9 to 6 kind of job. And, my boss, who sits in Singapore, he's, I'm a little bit afraid, but I'm also inspired by, the way he operates, because he sets really, really high standards for himself, almost working every day. And it's been that kind of relentlessness and that drive to succeed that has inspired me to, to stay here late nights and to commit to finding a solution when, there doesn't seem to be one. And so, the standards I've set for myself are quite, I'd say, challenging. And, I wouldn't say that it's not easy. However, in this, I'd say in today's world, and today's organization, and especially with today's circumstances, especially now we find ourselves in a pandemic. And, as you can probably understand, Thailand is a huge, it's a big tourism-based economy. And, so much of the business has been, eviscerated as a result of that. And so it's been really eye-opening, but also challenging in the sense to understand, okay, how do we move and shift with these circumstances in life? And it's that flexibility, it's that, ability to bend, and the ability to, be able to stay open-minded and to see opportunities when, other people see difficulties. That has really been, one key to helping me stay motivated. And I think especially in, my parent company also, they operate from Singapore, but they serve, they have an office in Jakarta. They have an office in the Philippines, in all over Southeast Asia. And so it really takes a constant, shifting and moving and being able to stay flexible. And, with new, each country will have their own set of challenges that come up in specific problems. And it's being able to shift and move in a dynamic way that really helps us to stay, to stay alive, to survive, and through also to at least get to a place where we can thrive. And so, yeah, my experience has taught me a lot. And like I said, I wouldn't say I've had too much success, but I've had experience, and experience has really just, it's helped me to understand a lot more about not just my specific industry, but, doing business in general, and what it means to be an entrepreneur, and especially with how fast-paced technology is moving. It's like, how do we shift and take advantage of this? And how do we transition to a different phase? And yeah, especially with regards to sustainability. How do we, if I wouldn't say that gaming is necessarily my passion, but this will give me the experience to set myself up for something in the future where I can ask myself, okay, with my skills, hopefully with my marketable skills and transferable skills, how can I add value in a sustainable way? And how can I not only survive, but thrive? And so, it's reminded me, and it's taught me to stay open-minded, and to just stay hungry, to keep on the lookout for opportunity. Yeah. So yeah, that's all I really have to share. But yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you to the speakers. Thank you, Mr. Mudit. That was really interesting lecture from you. And we learned that, even from Thailand, you can reach the world with communicating, with clarity, with flow, with commitment of your work towards, your passionate background of working. Now, I'd like to invite the second speaker, but prior to inviting the second speaker, I'd like all of you to save the questions to at the end, till the end, because we will have a panel discussions after this, and then after that we will raise questions from the audience. Okay, please save the questions till the end for the Q&A sessions. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Maliga, Dr. Maliga from Australia. We have Dr. Maliga Marimutu from Australia. Can we have a slides of Dr. Maliga? Yes. Hello, Dr. Maliga. Dr. Maliga is a senior lecturer in marketing at La Trobe Business School. And she was conferred Doctor of Philosophy from the University of Newcastle, Australia in 2008 with the honor of the award Research Higher Degree Best PhD Thesis Award. Congratulations. She has good experience in research, teaching undergraduate and postgraduate courses, supervising postgraduate as well, as doing also consultancy projects. Primary themes of Dr. Maliga's research interests are service marketing and general marketing, with a current evolving interest in smart service, service innovation, service workers, and customer engagement. Dr. Maliga is also hugely supports the agenda of creating service systems and processes that result in consumer social impact, employee upliftment, and human well-being. So without much ado, the floor is yours, Dr. Maliga. Dr. Maliga, I'd like to invite you. Thank you. Welcome to Venus.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Arianti. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, very well.
That's good. Thank you. I'll put my slide first. Hello, everyone. I'm very delightful that I'm invited to join this event. Thank you very much for that. As Dr. Arianti has introduced, I'm from La Trobe University, which is located in Melbourne, Australia. This is the topic that was given to me as well, which is entrepreneurial leadership in today's organization. But I'm extending this topic a bit to understanding the ecosystem, where in my presentation, I'm going to highlight the importance of understanding the ecosystem for the entrepreneurs so that they can plan how they can actually strategize their business to either to grow, to survive, or to compete in the market, right? So as we all know, entrepreneurial leadership involves organizing and motivating a group of people to achieve a common objective through innovation, risk optimization, taking advantage of opportunities, and managing the dynamic organizational environment. And earlier presenter, Mudit, has shared a very good experience, very fresh experience, very field-based experience of how he went through the process of actually experiencing all this in developing his business. That was a very good sharing. Thank you for that, Mudit. I really enjoyed your presentation. So this is picking up on that, all right? Picking up on that, what we need to understand is entrepreneurs will face a different situation. The situation will not be the same all the time, okay? Yeah, they could be a young entrepreneurs or a mature entrepreneurs, but they have to face the situation. The situation here, it could be urgency based, it could be crisis based, what is we are experiencing now due to this COVID. We are all under crisis. So the entrepreneurs are experiencing the crisis situation. They are actually seeing what they can do to overcome and how they can actually motivate other peoples in order to do well with their business, right? And the situation can be challenging orientated, where it can be very competitive, right? There could be a lot of challenges. There could be a lot of competitors. And also there could be a needs for the entrepreneurs to build their competitive advantage in order to survive, in order to grow in the market, right? So what is important for entrepreneurs to understand is there is a big factor of this situation, and this could influence them definitely. And the adaptability of this entrepreneurs are very important for them to adopt, right? To actually to perform in the market. So for that, what is important for us is to understand what is the ecosystem, right? So what is the ecosystem that entrepreneurs are basically operating? Right? So if we can understand the ecosystem, then we will be able to prepare ourselves, right? So how we can see ecosystem is we can understand the ecosystem from 4 dimensions. That is people, process, system, and attributes, right? So if you ask which one is important, right? So there's no answer which one is important, because all these 4 dimensions are strongly interrelated. They are connected, okay? They are actually worked as a system. That's the reason why we call it as ecosystem, right? So if we say we need to understand who are the people that we are going to serve, who are the people that working with us, who are the people that we are having networking, and then we need to look into the process. What are we doing with these people? Okay, what are we doing with our service? What are we doing our product? Why our product are there in the market? How we can make sure that our product or service can reach our customer? And then we need a system. How? We want our product or service to reach the customer, but what is the system that we want to use to make sure that we can reach our customer, right? It's not only just our focus is customer. Suppliers are also equally important to us, right? So they are part of the people who are playing a very important role as well. And what are the attributes that we need to understand, right? So if we have a very good understanding about this people, process, system, and attributes, regardless whatever the situation, whether it is an urgency-based situation, crisis-based situation, or challenging-based situation, or building competitive advantages-based situation, that won't be a matter for an entrepreneur. They will know what they need to do, right? So I'll get there. What I'm going to do in the next slide is I'm going to give a bit more detail on how to actually understand this 4 component of ecosystem. Let's have a look at the first one, which is people. Okay, as I mentioned here earlier, it is referring to employee, customer, right? Stakeholders, anyone in the stakeholders, our vendors, our suppliers. So what is important here is human capital is very important, right? So when we are looking at our employee, the question is how we can actually train our employee to be empowered. Okay, so that's a big challenge for us, because employee is a very important asset to the organization. So we don't see them as a labor. There's a difference between labor and employee. If labor, we are just expecting them to do the work. But as an employee, we are expecting them to be our partners, right? So we are expecting them to give us a lot of ideas, bring their innovativeness, creativity into the business. So we need to empower them. So the human capital building is very important. And as you know, customers are also equally playing a very important role now, because nowadays customers, they are not just coming to purchase the product or services from us. they are playing equal role, okay, as a partner, right, as a contributor in the market. So where they give a lot of ideas, they give feedbacks, they provide review, right? And so there are a lot of things that the customers are doing. So we need to bring in the customer so that they can play a very active role in our business. So customer engagement is a very important. So we have to find all the way that we can involve our customer, starting from the time that we give awareness about our product service to our customer, to the point that we are getting a lot of inputs from them. Okay, and talent building are very important. So for the aspect of the people, we need to understand who are the people that we are engaging with. Okay, what is our role in actually in empowering them? Okay, what can we do to make sure that they will actively engaged in our business? So that's the thing that we need to cover under the component of people. Moving to the second component, which is the process. All right. So the question is how we are going to make things happen, right? So this actually, if you look into this model here, this model reflect what Mudid has mentioned just now. Okay, Mudid has mentioned about the clarity, all right, the flow, the commitment, right? So my you can see that in the next slide, I will relate how this is connected to that one, right? Because we need to have a very good understanding. So that's why understanding the ecosystem is very important here. So with this process here, so how is the process? Okay, whether it is going to be in a situation of crisis-based, urgency-based, right, competitive-based, doesn't matter. But we need to understand how the process is going to take place here. So what sort of networking? Okay, how complicated is our networking? Right? How strong is our networking? Is there a need for us to form new networking? Right? And what about the relationship that we have with our stakeholders, with our customer, with our employees, with our vendors, with our suppliers, right? With the government, with the NGOs? What we can do with the relationship? Is there a way that we can actually innovate that relationship, or we can expand that relationship, right? And is there a way that we can actually expand the relationship to become a collaboration, right? So these are the things that we need to think, right? We need to think to see that how we can actually make sure that the process become intensive and productive here, right? So throughout this process, there could be some needs for educating, give more information to the people. That's the reason nowadays we can see a lot of entrepreneurs getting down to the field, and they try to form very good relationship with the community, for an example, right? Where they engage with the community, let the community to know what business they are doing, what are their product, what are the services, what social works they are doing, all that. So they are creating that awareness. By creating that awareness and that lead to educating the community, they can actually create that brand of their business there, right? So it's very important to see what we can do with the process, right? The next one is attributes. What are the attributes that we need to understand in our business here? Okay, for example, there are so many attributes. I just provided few examples here. The first one, societal norms, right? So we know that we are operating to bring some value, right? So how we can actually make that value clear? How we can actually relate that value, for example, with sustainability development goals. So what are we trying to achieve from our business? Who will get benefits, right? Is there any humanity values that we can bring out from our business? So that social norms has to be clearly highlighted, right? And that should be reflected in our objectives, so that both the employees and the customers will understand very well what actually become the emphasis of this organization. So for every entrepreneur, it's very important for them to understand what are the social norms that they want to highlight from their business. Some of these social norms could be very embedded into the product and services. For example, in terms of food industry, where they want to make sure that they produce quality food, right? So it is embedded in the production. For some business, it may not be clearly embedded in the production, but then it could be added services that the company can do for the community, some social work, for example. So whatever it is, it has to be made very clear. The other attribute is culture. It's very important to understand the culture, okay? Culture of where this business are being operated. So we need to see the nation culture, our customer, okay? What are the culture of our customer? What are there any needs for us to customize our product or services to actually fit into the culture of our customer, all right? And what about managing our employees? So culture play a very important roles there. We got to look into the policy of the government. What are the government policy? What become the important agenda of our government, for example? Okay, now we know that we are experiencing this COVID things. Okay, we hope this COVID will end, will over. So once it ends, okay, what would be the agenda of the government? What are the things that the government will emphasize more? So how we can actually channel, right, or direct our business towards achieving that policy, right? So these are the things that we have to be always very alert, right, and see how we can actually link our business with a lot of social, legal, political, economic factors, right? And what about innovation? We talk a lot about innovation and creativity. What are the space for us to bring innovation and creativity into our business, right? So we don't want to just see innovation and creativity with our R&D, but we want to go beyond it, okay, in the process of reaching the customer, right? In the process of building the relationship with the customer. So how we can actually embed this innovation and creativity into our business, right? So that's why we need a lot of support from our employee, from our customer. If they can give us a lot of ideas, right, that will be very helpful for us to continuously be innovative and creative in the market. The fourth component is the system. Okay, system is very important because whatever that we plan here, right, we need a system to support it. So we got to see what are the infrastructure, what are the facilities, what are the technologies, right, or what are the supports that we have in order for us to achieve the targets that we want to achieve in our business. Right? So we need to see what are the technology advancement, right? All the technology advancement may not be suitable for us. So we need to be very specific in choosing the technology that would fit for us. And then let's see what are the financial scheme, okay, that can provide assistance to us. And then we can look into the infrastructure support, right? How much we can access to the infrastructure. And what about the professional support, for example, legal support, accounting supports. So we need to look around and see that what are the support that we can get to become a good entrepreneur, right? So if we put ourselves as a entrepreneur leader here, so we need to look into all these aspects, understand the ecosystem very well, right? So that we can actually tap into the opportunities, and then we can actually plan the strategies, all right? And then we can go for the targets that we have assigned. So how to respond effectively in a situation, right? So as I mentioned that these are the situation, right? So regardless urgency, crisis, challenging situation, or building competitive advantages situation. So what is important is understand what is happening, okay? This is what Mudir has mentioned as clarity. Look into the problems, see what are the problems, right? And how to actually find solution for the problems. So it is very important for an entrepreneur, right, to actually understand what is happening. You need to obtain the clarity. That is very, very important. So how to understand? By understanding the ecosystem. So these are the components that the entrepreneur need to understand. So if the entrepreneur have good knowledge about all these 4 components, right, they will be able to do a very in-depth analysis, right, and they will be able to see the problem. They will be able to identify the problems that need solution, right, and then they can move to the next stage, which is basically flow stage, right? So you can see the flow stage here. as face the situation, because we know that this is the situation. Like, see what a lot of entrepreneurs are doing at this time of COVID, right? So they are facing the situation. So they are adopting very quickly. Previously, they have not been using internet technology for their business. Now they are using those internet, like online delivery, for example, right, very intensively. There were a lot of restaurants we can see, for an example. They have been providing takeaway services. Only when people walk into the store, they make the order. Okay, but then now they have actually bring in this online system, and then they are taking the order online. Right? So they are adopting. So what they are doing is they are facing the situation. They become very vigilant. That's very important, right, for entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs need to have a very high adaptability, and they do have that flexibility to be to practice that adaptability. So that's actually their strength. It's not a threat for entrepreneurs. Okay, and then prioritize. Once we know that what are the problems, right, and how we are going to manage this, we need to prioritize. Why we need to prioritize is because we have limitation of resources. So we won't be able to assess everything at one time. So we need to prioritize. These are the things that I want to focus now, or I'm going to start first, right? So that's very important. So the next thing is basically we get committed with our plan and action the strategies. And so that is very important. We go for that target that we want to achieve, right? So these are some of the tips on how entrepreneurs can respond effectively in a different situation, right? So it's all have to come from them, right? It's all started with a very good understanding, okay, adopting, right, and then actioning. These are the things that require from entrepreneurs. So basically, that's what I wanted to present for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Maliga. That was very interesting topic from you, talking about the ecosystem on understanding the leadership. Yeah, that was really interesting. Now, save the questions again to the audience for later on for the questions. If you want to raise the questions to Dr. Malik and Mr. Mudit, so save it, and we will ask for your question raised at the end. All right. Now, let's come to our third speaker of the day, which is Dr. Safuan. Dr. Safuan, how are you, Dr. Safuan? Are you here? Yes. Yeah, I'm so glad to know you. So, Dr. Safuan, yes, allow me to read your background here. You have a very long title. Yeah. Yes. So, Dr. Safuan, ST, MT, MM, QIA, FC, CFE, CAPM, and CRMP.
Yeah.
Now, Dr. Safuan works at Koja Container Terminal as a corporate secretary.
Yes.
In addition, yes, he is the lecturer in the graduate program for Master of Management at Jayabaya University, Jakarta. You might probably know the former dean. His name is, he was formerly the mayor of North Jakarta mayor. Yeah. Anyway, you might probably know him. He is a journal reviewer sa Waslia, Simolga, Sumatra Utara, and Polytechnic Ganesha Medan, Sumatra Utara. His research interests include human resource management, marketing management, maintenance management, performance evaluation, project management, and beside that, he's also a national auditor. So he has a very extensive background and experience behind him, and he would like to share it with us today with his presentations. Please welcome Dr. Safuan.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Miss Dr. Arianti. Okay, I I want to share my presentation first. Okay. And sorry ya, because in my office, F aja nih oh. Sorry, because I cannot stop it because this regular. Okay. Okay. Now I try to presentation about the entrepreneurial leadership in today organization. Before I continue to presentation, I try to introduce myself, yeah, and you can see from picture, yeah, I'm corporate secretary at Koja Container Terminal in North Jakarta, yeah, and I lecture in the graduate program for Master of Management at Jayabaya University Jakarta, and also I journal reviewer at SDGs Al Wasilah Sibolga Sumatera Utara and Politeknik Ganesha Medan Sumatera Utara. Okay, let's start. We try to explain the uh, the hot topic, yeah, for this day, today, yeah, and I have four agenda for this presentation. Number one is introduction and definition, qualify, and positive impact. Now I try to introduction about the entrepreneurial leadership. Yeah, introduction in 2030 is a formidable challenge must be faced by the whole world, especially Indonesia, in facing digital area. The global competition coupled with the COVID-19 pandemic issue. Yeah, Indonesia have the head of maybe three issue, yeah, three issue. And well, yes, the global competition era, yeah, the infinity, which is indicated by rapid change in the business environment, advances in communication technology and information, as well as other technologies becomes reality that must be addressed wisely and careful so the organization can continue to existing in the arena of global competition. So what should we do? Yeah. In the above condition, it is necessary to presence of a leader who has a vision far ahead, having leadership a high sense of change, a leader aware of his position in the middle ever-changing environment, leader who has soul and passion, entrepreneurship, leaders who can communicate, have enthusiasm, and dare to take risks. Yeah, you can look this statement in McKinney Rogers Consultant. Yeah. Okay. Next, we start to definition of entrepreneurial leadership. Yeah. First, we must know about the leadership. Yeah. Number one, yeah, leadership is ability to influence a group toward achievement of a vision or set goal. Yeah, you can see, yeah, you can see a book, yeah, from Robin and Judge, yeah, and for the other, leadership, yeah, leadership is the influential process of the leader and followers to achieve organizational goal through change. Yeah, and the other, leadership is the capacity for inspire individual to give their best ability to achieve the desired result and to keep effective relationship with individual and the team as a whole. Yeah. And another Leadership is concerned with creating an organization that has high moral. And so we know this era, yeah, we must have a soul to change, yeah, always change, yeah, and not uh, status quo, yeah, status quo, and you must creative, yeah, creative in this era, yeah, in this era. So the other now we go to the entrepreneurship. Yeah, what is entrepreneurship? Yeah, entrepreneurship is defined as the process of finding, recognizing, and take advantage of new opportunity. Yeah, and entrepreneurship is about doing something different, creative. A business that doesn't exist, produce new product, modify existing activities. Yeah, so we always creating. Yeah, and under Drucker, yeah, Drucker said understanding of entrepreneurship by ask what does value mean to a customer. Yeah, well, standardizing product, designing process and tool, and by basing training on job analysis to be done, and then setting the required standard can drastically increase the yield of resources and create new market and new customer. This is entrepreneurial. Yeah. And Wijatno, yeah, according to Wijatno, entrepreneurs according to history, Peter and Shepherd, in the process of creating something new, valuable by utilizing the effort and time required, taking into account social, physical, and financial risk, and receiving reward in the form of money and personal satisfaction and independence. Yeah. And now we can explain about the entrepreneurial leadership. Yeah. According Greenberg, yeah, entrepreneurial leadership involves new models of think and action which begin with a few fundamentally different words from business and implement retrieval illogical decision. And according Afif, yeah, according Afif, entrepreneurship-based companies have advantage where leadership performance has more flexibility. In contrast to the general organizational perspective, where the leadership aspect is more limited by organizational setting. Several aspects and entrepreneurial-based companies are more likely to facilitate the ability of leader to affect change and performance. Okay, so uh, if you conclusion about the entrepreneurial leadership, yeah, yeah, maybe uh, we must to flexible, yeah, flexible and uh, improve the model, yeah, think and action, yeah, yeah. So we can create new model or new idea, especially in pandemic issue, yeah, in the pandemic issue. Now, uh, we can see about the qualified leader, yeah. Okay, qualified leader, entrepreneurship leadership. Okay, number one, yeah, the leader must dynamic and effective. Yeah. Dynamic and effective. This leadership can be interpreted as an effort to instill influence, not conscious to motivate other parties such as employees, subordinate, and society, so that they work according to the will of the leader, yeah, namely the achievement of organizational strategic goal. Next, the leader must professional, yeah, having leadership professionalism, namely being willing and able to bring teamwork to always be creative, innovative, and looking for alternative opportunities with the courage to take risks. And the leader must have expertise and competence. Yeah. Have expertise and competence is one or several fields and become a thinker, intuitive, opportunity seeker, not thinker, systematic, or regulator of work. Yeah. Next, the leader must have entrepreneurial spirit. Having a high entrepreneurial spirit and spirit to be able to see, identify, utilize, and create opportunities has add value. Next, the leader must have managerial skill. Having the managerial ability to able to change and move the organization, not to stick to the status quo with existing system and condition in accordance with the choice of organizational planning strategy. You can see the in Pinch's book here. Okay, and next, the leader, yeah, the leader must continuously doing change. Yeah, continuous doing change in the effort to create absolute advantage despite the condition is ahead. And then the quality of a leader in digital, global, and COVID-19 pandemic issue. Number one, dynamic. Yeah, we can say hard work. Yeah, visionary, perspective view, influential, bring the team to hard work, competence, yeah, ability to complete the task, innovative, yeah, entrepreneur, make change, and professional, able to achieve goal strategy. And what positive impact? Yeah, okay. Positive impact of entrepreneurial leadership. Number one, total focus on service to customers. Next, optimize risk, not minimizing it. Yeah. Constantly be creative and innovative to get better. Take personal responsibility for organizational result. Understand the bigger picture. Keep it simple. Provide inspiration to the people around you with a clear vision and goals. Yeah. Next, keep positive thinking. And this reference, yeah, reference, you can get this for yeah. And thank you. Okay, thanks, Dr. Arianti.
Thank you, Dr. Safuan. That was also a very nice lecture from you. If I can just like sort of wrap it up, it's leadership. How leadership is very important in the entrepreneurial an entrepreneur. It means that you need flexibility. You need the model to what do you call it to a new model. You have to make new models all the time, so that if it declines, then you have to start again from the beginning with a new sort of innovative products. And then you need to have the competence and expertise And this is all in order to create an absolute competitive advantage for the entrepreneur, for the businessman itself. So thank you. Let me carry on with the last speaker of today, which is our dear friend. She is a Belarusian, and her name is Ibu Ina Malati. She is a PhD candidate from UGM. And Ibu Ina Malati is a very dear friend of mine. She is a marketing enthusiast who is always curious about everything and the changes that occurs in it, especially consumer behavior. So, which becomes the center of interaction in marketing world. Ibu Ina's life, thought, and perspective are inspired by big names such as Imnosina, Avicenna, Bung Karno, our former president, Mahatma Gandhi, and Mother Teresa, who are actually beautifully remembered as someone who was able to make a useful contribution to civilization. And one of Ibu Ina's life purpose is to keep searching the ways to be a little useful to other living creatures as a form of her gratitude to God for this beautiful, wonderful life. So let's us embrace the presence of Ibu Ina Malati, PhD candidate. And are you ready, Ibu Ina? Are you here? Hi, Ibu Ina. Hello, how are you
Hello.
today?
I'm good, Ibu Ajeng. Thank you very much for your
So
speech.
you're thinner a little bit, yeah?
Serious? Seriously? Can you hear
We
my
haven't seen
voice?
each other for a few days, but a few months actually. You got thinner now.
Oh,
I'm
really?
bigger now. Yes.
No, that's because of
So
the screen LCDs influenced me.
hopefully. Okay, are you ready with the presentations? Let's hear it
Sure,
out.
sure. Thank you very
Yes.
much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Can you? I hope you can hear me clearly. Sorry. And I'm very thank you to Ibu Dr. Arianti, Ibu, for she is known as Ibu Ajeng, lovely Ibu Ajeng, because she has a very good voice actually. And then I'd like to give a greeting as well for Dr. Safwan. Thank you very much. That's a very insightful material. I learned a lot from your slides, and maybe you can share to me later on after this session, as well as to everyone in ComDev.
Okay. Excited.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, very excited to learn more about your material actually. Well, I would like to have a special greeting as well for ComDev, especially Ibu Ratno, Mas Hasan, Mas Wisnu, and Yani, and everyone. Oh, Ibu Herlina and everyone. Well, actually, I'm going to talk a very simple topic in this afternoon. It's about the entrepreneurial or entrepreneur spirit during pandemic. I think, when people say that there's not much things that we can do during pandemics, I don't really agree with them, because there's so much things to do, or there's so much things that actually we can do during this pandemic, especially to support each other, or especially at least that we can give support to each other. When you see surround you in this during pandemic, like you can see there's came up in your surroundings that some people started their business, their small business actually, and then maybe like dreams that came true, that those people was really or willing to have a business, but they didn't have any chance, or they didn't have any time to start it. But this pandemic actually, during this pandemic, they got the chance. So let me. So I'm going to start with my very simple material. So this is entrepreneur spirit. Why did I choose this topic? Because this is interesting for me to have a little research in around 1 year during the pandemic, and I see that our support system in each other between our inner family as well as people around us is getting tighter and tighter. Like if you realize or if you take a detailed notice to people around you, like we get closer day by day, time by time. Well, actually, this pandemic has given us lots of lessons, actually, especially how we can um, give more gratitude, how we can give more appreciation, how we can give more support, more power, more inspirations to others. So this is why I choose this topic, maybe to share some thoughts for you guys about the entrepreneur world in this pandemic era. So first thing first, well, let's be used to with the COVID-19. There's nothing we can do. I mean, well, there's a lot of we can do, but first thing first, one thing that we can do is get used to it, because actually, well, even after the vaccine will be found later on or sooner, but then we still really don't know about how this world can be later on. Like, should we be with this protocol or new normal, or can we go back, or can we go back to our normal life before the pandemic? Like, we still don't know. So unless we just keep complaining or make an excuse about the pandemic, so let's just choose to be used to it. You know, like this is I think this is what the very simplest things we can do is that. So how can we used to with the COVID-19, especially for the entrepreneur, because this pandemic is very difficult and hard situations to face. Like, for example, I came from entrepreneur family, so my mom and dad has run the company also, and then they really got affected with this pandemic, and then we just well, first thing first that we did um, when the pandemic strike us, we just like, okay, we come down for a while, and then we go to the survival mode on. Well, this is what we have to do, and then what we did or what we were doing during the survival mode on. So first thing first, we did the self-assessment. This is related to what we have right now. It's related to our asset, including the human asset and the material assets like money. How much money or how much funding that we have, our company have in our savings, and then what asset like machine or inventory or everything that we have until today. And then we try to make like notes for the self-assessment. At least we know that where we are stand for right now. That's what the self-assessment for. And then the second things, we try to find some predictive data. So we cannot just sit down and then we cannot just like see what's gonna happen. That's not, we just cannot do that, especially as an entrepreneur. So we have to move on. We have to keep going. We have to keep well, if you like, you play bicycle to manage your bicycle to keep running or to keep go on. Like, the things is you have to keep moving. So that's what we also do. So we find some predictive data, like next trend. Okay, what is the next business that will be happen or that will be that will be famous in the next trend, in the next period after the pandemic. Maybe the tourism or hospitality, or maybe the healthy business, or maybe, well, there's lots of new business that that obviously will be the next trend and the next trend after the pandemic. And then we try to find out the government regulations. Keep watching TV, keep watching internet, keep watching well, lots of news. I mean, especially things is the news. What do you need to know, or what do you need to find out from the news? It's what kind of the government stimulus that they give or they try to give to us, to the entrepreneur. As I remember, there was a lot of stimulus that Indonesian's government tried to give to entrepreneurs or business or industries in Indonesia to facing pandemic. So there's a lot of things that you can still try to keep up with your business. And then the three steps or 3 points you can do is you try to find out what is the world economic changes, what's other countries' regulations, and then what kind of regulations they have, what kind of regulations they implement to their country to face this pandemic. And then you also need to watch out, you also need to know what United Nations say, what World Bank say. That's pretty important, I think, for us to know about what's gonna happen next. And then the next thing is, don't worry, there's always a solution. If you guys remember, in the earlier spread of COVID-19, like some of business like Starbucks, and then what else? Kopi Kenangan, and then Kopi Janji Jiwa, and some of those coffee stores, they offered a new model of business. I mean, a new model of product. They know that people were started to work and study at home, and they couldn't regularly go out and found or to have a coffee. So they and people were started to order coffee from outside to their home, and then they try to offering what innovations, like they try to make 1 liter coffee. Yeah, if you remember with that strategy, I think that was a really brilliant strategy from from those coffee shop. That's pretty solutions for both parties, for the seller as well as for the buyer. So this is the scheme about the adaptive solution that you guys can implement later. If you one day you become an entrepreneur and you face this kind of emergent situations, this called as an adaptive strategy. I think Ibu Ajeng and Dr. Seven also also agree with the adaptive strategy. That is the strategy that is that was implemented by Starbucks. That's what we call as a adaptive strategy. Instead of they fired employee, or instead of they try to they stop the business and they give up, they try to do, or they try to adapt with the situation. So the framework of the adaptive strategy as well, it's influenced by 4 parties. There are customers, and then competitors, and then the company itself, and then the changes of the climate. So we should know about the what is the competitors did during the pandemic. What has they done, and then what is the changes of the customer behavior to adapt with the situations, and then the changes in itself. What kind of the current situation that has happened during the pandemic. That 3 things, or that 3 domain or main point climate, competitors, and customers. That is the parties that you can integrate each other. So you can and then you can set up the new adaptive strategy to face the emergent situations. Okay, so can we go to the next slide? Yeah. So this is what I also has taken from this pandemic era or pandemic situations is be brave and kind. So do you remember Cinderella? I think you wouldn't know about the Cinderella. Well, yeah, because you're the Cinderella, you wouldn't. Okay, be brave and kind. Well, I've already said it to my introduction sections earlier that if people say that there's nothing we can do during pandemic, and I obviously not agree with that, because there's a lot of things we can do during the pandemic, especially now we become a buyer, but maybe one day or later on you become the seller, you become the entrepreneur, you become the producer that make the product, and you really need buyer to buy your product so you can survive in this struggling period. So just be brave to be a hero in this pandemic situations, and whatever role you can do at this moment, because simple action is everything than no action at all. Okay, and then if you are already become an entrepreneur right now, just be brave. Just be brave to face it, because we are all in the same situations. Remember, we also, my dad and my mom company also facing this kind of problem. And then, but um, uh, we didn't try to fire our employee, or we just there's always an options. There's always an alternatives to be struggling or to face this situation. So which is to be a brave and kind like Cinderella. So I think this is a little or simple sharing from me, and I'd like to know or to hear your opinions or questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. That was very insightful. Okay, it was very nice also from you to share the picture of Cinderella. I hope she's selling pumpkin. She's selling pumpkin and turns the pumpkin into, that's innovative. The pumpkin into a chariot, a carrier, right? That's delivery for the online system, because now in the pandemic, yes, exactly. So let me wrap up for everyone's in here with all the presenters that have presented. We have Mr. Mudit. Mr. Mudit has written about how becoming an entrepreneur, you need to have a competence and clarity, flow, and commitment. So it's, being an entrepreneur itself is very, very challenging. And communication strategy, you need to have a very extensive communication strategy in here. Is Mr. Moody still around? Okay, we have to have a picture taken before we. Yeah.
Mr. Moody has already left.
He left. We should have taken a picture together. Oh, okay. All right. So, and then Dr. Maliga was very extensive when she talks about the ecosystem for the leaders to understand the ecosystem in this pandemic era, especially when they have to strategize, they have to compete, they have to survive during this with this kind of problem with the pandemic era. And being survival is also the essence and presented by Ibu Ina just now, that you have to be beside survival. to survive. Besides survival, she also explains about what do you call it? To be alert with the news from the media and so on. Yeah, with the social media from the government, and be always active in terms of innovation. And Dr. Safuan also mentioned about leadership in for entrepreneurs. You need to be flexible. You have to have the expertise and the competence, and that includes risk calculating in every cycle of business that the person is involved in. And then do not forget that taking actions in taking up new models, especially in this pandemic era, it has to be also taken to consideration. So we have 4 presenters here. Can we have the pictures first, or we have to shall we read the questions from the floor on how is this going to be?
We have a few questions here. I'm going to play it, all right? Okay.
Yes, let me read the questions. So we'll check the picture taken later on. And yeah, okay. Oh, there are a lot of,
we have 6 questions from 2 participants, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, the first questions raised is from Raven. So this is addressed to all the speakers. The first question is, do you have any lead where to start? Something like what necessary tools, soft skills required to start, maybe like accounting, financial knowledge. What is the most necessary knowledge for us, personally, to think needed to be an entrepreneur? That's number 1. What is actually the tools to be an entrepreneur? That's number 1. Number 2, I kind of have a struggle to understand what it means to be a team player. In Robert Kiyosaki book says to be a team player is an entrepreneur. There's some kind of group. There is. Can you tell this around? Oh, so what is the reference beside Robert Kiyosaki if you want to be in a team player for an entrepreneur? Number 3, if you guys start from zero, let's say you wake up and everything is gone, your assets is gone, family is gone, you only have your knowledge without connections as entrepreneur leader. What do you do? What are you going to do if your assets is gone? Everything you own is no longer there with you. That's number 3. Number 4, is there any community where you can learn entrepreneurs as a beginner? Okay. Number 5, as a person, I think I'm a stiff person, but I kind of wanted to think flexible and change my way of thinking. I cannot read the rest. Hang on. Thinking, do you have any tips to self-improvement of think back flexibility? I think number 5 and number 4 is very related. The first one is the number 4 is community, where you can hang out and learn on entrepreneur for beginners, and number 5 is the way of thinking. Any tips? The tips to have a self-improvement for entrepreneurs. So that's the question. Would you like to start? Can we start with Dr. Malika first?
Yes, sure. Right.
Yes.
The first question is a very interesting question because it's always like entrepreneurs will be in a dilemma, right? A huge dilemma. So how can they really get themselves prepared to face the situation? So this is where the understanding will come in. Seeking a clarity is very important, right? So the question asks where to start. So the question is, we need to think, right? How to develop that thinking? We got to put ourselves on the shoe of the customer. We need to know what the customer will be expecting. We need to put ourselves in the shoe of our employee, right? And to understand what actually the employee wants, and say we got to put ourselves in the shoe of our vendors, suppliers, whoever the people in the stakeholder. So we try to understand what actually they want. And then we need to understand the internal and external forces. Okay. And we have to see what are the vision of the government or the agenda of the government, right? So what are the supports we can get? So one of the simple tool where someone who is interested on this question can start with would be SWOT analysis. Conduct a SWOT analysis to know what are the strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. Right? There are always an opportunity. It's just that we have to think, right? Someone who can think differently from another person, someone who can think before another person think about it, someone who can put the things in a very innovative, creative way, they are the person taking the lead. Let's take a look at this COVID time, at this pandemic time, right? We know that a lot of business, they had been hit by this pandemic, but there are a lot of business are doing very well. They come up with a new business model and they are doing extremely well, right? And there are business which are surviving while some of the similar competitors are closing the business, they are surviving. So what is needed here is just to think differently, right? And then see how much information that we can get from the environment. That was the reason why I presented the ecosystem, so that we don't only just focus on the people, or we focus on the system, or we focus on particular attributes that we want to achieve. So it is very important to have comprehensive understanding about the process, the people, the system, the attributes. Right? Then only we can put all the information together, and then we can analyze them based on what are the strengths that we have. See, we won't be able to do everything. We need to know what are our strengths. What are we good at? Let's use our strength to attract those opportunities. Let's use that strength, the strength to actually to overcome those threats. Right? So in this way, we can change our weakness to become strength as well. So I would strongly recommend you to start with a SWOT analysis, and then you can extend from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Malika. Dr. Sarfua, maybe you can answer number 2, or and Dr. Ibu Ina, and maybe Ibu Ina can suggest number 4 and number 5.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Arianti. But it's difficult to answer, yeah, for number 2, yeah, because you must give the reference. So I think for your information, yeah, for to become the entrepreneurial leadership, maybe we can back to my slide. Yeah, you must to be able to adaptive and always change your way to get to your high result. Yeah, high result, not status quo, not only status quo and status, and but the dynamic. Yeah, you must dynamic. Yeah. So I don't. I can answer this question, may. But I hope maybe this question maybe next I try to answer it, because I must give the reference, but I don't have the reference for Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah. I don't I don't have, but maybe from this answer, maybe this question I can answer later. Yeah, maybe that's to Dr. Arianti. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Safuan. So Robert Kiyosaki is the writer for Rich Dad and Poor Dad, right?
Yeah.
And that's the term that Amway is adopting.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are so many. Actually, Dr. Safun has raised many references before on his presentations. Maybe you can look around. We will show his presentation later, and you can make the reference. You can take some reference out of it. Okay, now let's carry on with Wina. Wina, what do you think about the rest of the questions?
Oh, the rest of the questions.
Yes.
So the questions, the next questions, the number 4 is there any community where you can learn entrepreneur as a beginner? Obviously, yes. There's a bunch of entrepreneur group or community that you can start to join before you become an entrepreneur. But my suggestion is just pick up two, at least two communities. So one communities is the communities that related with your hobby, with your hobby, or related to any kind of ability that you think you can be that you really mastering in it. So you can just that community. As for example, I do love diving and photography. So I joined to those two community, like diver community and also the photography community. Why? Because from that community, you can be really free, or you can freely to talk anything about your hobbies. You can start to learn, or you can start to discuss so many things about anything you really know or anything you're interested to know. That will obviously teaching or teach you so many things about communications, negotiations, and then it will be very helpful for you to do the next formal negotiations, especially for business negotiations. That's for the hobby community. And then the second community is the formal community like Gapura, that was entrepreneur community founded by Google in Indonesia, and obviously Comdev, community development in Binus. Well, that's a formal community for young entrepreneur in Binus actually, that you can start from. You can go to the community development in their office in Binus, and then you can start to ask where guys you will have or make another gathering, offline gathering for us, that you can gather with lots of entrepreneurs that is already success at this moment, and then you can start to learn from them. Just ask to the Binus, like from the Comdev or Mas Wisnu or Bayani and everyone in Comdev to make the gathering for you. I think that's for the number 4. And then as a person, I myself think myself as kind of a stiff person, but I kind of wanted to think flexible and change my way of thinking. Do you have any tips to self-improvement to think flexibly? Well, um, for this students, I'd like to make a high five for you with you guys, because I used to be that kind of person. I was a very stiff person. I was a very ridiculously over perfectionist person. But the thing is, when I become um, adult, and then I started to see around myself. I started to see my environment. I was thinking like, I'm not going to survive in this life if I'm still being this kind of person. So in every time of life, in every single time in your life, you have to be negotiable. So my suggestions is, if you want to think more flexible, or if you want to be a more flexible person, I suggest you to do a negotiations with the very worst people you've ever you know. You know, like maybe someone you really hated, or someone you really don't like it. Just go to her or him, and then you make some kind of negotiation until she or he said yes, until he or she become a better person or become nicer to you. That's the way, or that's the time when I can reach that, when I did that way, and then I became more flexible. I said that, well, I cannot um, I cannot stand with my what with I cannot just stand with what I want, but I have to negotiable. I have to be more flexible so I can achieve my bigger purpose. So I can achieve um, bigger goals. I think that's my suggestion. Just now find someone that you really hate the most and make some negotiation until he or he say yes. And you guys make a win-win solution. Nobody angry or nobody laugh upset. I think that's my very simple suggestion.
Okay,
Good luck.
that's awesome. Thank you for the tips. Dr. Maliga, is there any sharing info that would you like to give us, especially on number 4, because you're in Australia? Is there any community that for our students to join, or any tips or anything that you'd like to add? So as also Dr. Shafuan.
They have some particular community, like for moms, for example, mompreneurs.
Right.
Australia organizing a lot of workshop, training, events, and they welcome the participants from Asian countries, especially. So these are the, I know they are very active, and we have a lot of people from Asian countries participating. So I would encourage to subscribe into those community where most of the activities are managed virtually. So locations, traveling is not a matter here. It was done before COVID time. So try to find anything that like social enterprise, another example. Like you can find, is there any social enterprise community available in the Twitter or Facebook? There are a lot of communities are becoming very active in social media. So it's very simple. We just go to Google and then type that, for example, social entrepreneurs, and then look for any community and see what are the number of people in that social media, how active are they, what are the events that they are organizing, because there are a lot of NGOs are organizing events for free, right, or at least with a very small minimum fee. So these are good community to subscribe, so that by then you can continuously get updated informations, and then you can get a lot of supports, those sort of things. So I would strongly encourage you, based on your interest, to go to Google and just look for any thing that you can subscribe through social media. That's very helpful.
Yeah, agree.
And I think we haven't covered question number 3.
Yes.
Really? Yeah, I'm happy to take this question. For this one, knowledge is a very, very, very big asset. A person who has the knowledge, I would say that there are still a lot of room for them to success. See, knowledge comes from an experience. If you claim that you have a knowledge, that means you have experience, you have worked in this field, you have experience. So what are we going to do with our knowledge and experience? We need to fill the gap. So if we want to go and ask for an opportunity, a person who have a knowledge, they will not ask for a job. What they will ask for is, they will present a business model, because they can create a business model, right? And then they can use that business model as a tool for that company or the person, the other entrepreneur leader, to offer them the job opportunity. So this is the strategy that they got to change. If we see at the time of this pandemic, there are a lot of gaps that need to be filled in. People need those services, people need those products, but then they can't reach those products on time. The products never come to them on time. The products never come to them in a perfect way. So there are a lot of gaps actually. So based on the knowledge, if we can identify the gap and we can present this to the entrepreneurs who have the resources, as in this question, the person has no resources, and then they can actually, the person can team up and see how they can collectively do together. Right? I can give you one example here. We Hindus, we celebrated Deepavali very recently. And at that time of Deepavali, there are a lot of things get exchanged. For example, a lot of IT companies in India, for example, right? A lot of IT companies, they have a lot of workers. But what is happening with the workers now is they are working from home. So previously, the IT company, they can order sweets because giving a sweet is a gift during Deepavali time. So it was easy for the company to order the sweet and then give the sweet to distribute the sweet to the employees. But now the employees are at home. They want to deliver the sweets, but then they couldn't reach. They can find the entrepreneurs who can make sweets because every year they are the supplier for them. But how to make sure that that sweets box can reach the employee? So they need people to deliver, reliable people to deliver, right? And some of these employees, they already went back to their home country, so they may not be in the city. So what is the connection? But if we see throughout India, there are a lot of sweet shops. But what is needed here is a person who can actually form the connection, connect the sweet shops in India together, connect the delivery person together. At this one side, we can see a lot of delivery companies, they say that they don't have business, right? So the person who has the knowledge can just go in and build the connection, put a nice casual, make sure that things are happening in order. That's where you can be success. So knowledge is a very, very big asset. You have a lot of things actually you can achieve, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Maliga.
Well,
Yes.
can I give some additional things
Sure.
from Dr. Maliga? Let me
Sure,
give
sure.
a gratitude to Mr. Maliga. I haven't said hello and greeting to you. Well, actually, I very agree with what Dr. Maliga said. And then if you guys remember, when we have fasting month, and then in this during pandemic, and then the seller wasn't allowed to sell the takjil. Do you remember when the fasting month came? We always see or find out takjil, ya Pak Safwan ya, Pak Dr. Safwan. Yep. And then, well, yeah, we didn't have any chance to find one of them, wasn't it? So, but the seller was not lost was not lost the idea how to sell their product. Otherwise, to give up and not selling anything and have no income, they try to sell their piece of snacks through or using social media, through Shopee, through Tokopedia. Even though the snacks that they sold was around 5,000 rupiah. How much is it for the US Australia or dollar Australia? It's around 5 cents. 5 cents. 5,000, it's 5 cents dollar Australia. That's a very cheap. That's a very cheap price for the snacks they sell through Tokopedia or Shopee. That's how the seller in Indonesia try to face the pandemic. They cannot sell it in the road, in the edge of the road, but they just tried it they just tried to use social media just to keep survive and keep doing their business and to sell snacks or food for takjil. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Maliga.
Okay, that was a nice insights from both Dr. Maliga and Ibu Ina. Anything you want to add, Pasafuan, before I go to the second questions?
No, but I agree with Dr. Maliga and Miss Ina, and we can say where was beginning, community. You can search googling, yeah. Community Indonesia is many community for entrepreneur, yeah. So you can googling, and maybe we hear about the academy, entrepreneurial academy, yeah, in Indonesia, yeah. So you can googling from and you can join, yeah, with the community. I think that's it. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Safuan. Let us go to the second question. Second question is raised by Kelvin Basundara. Kelvin asked, but he addressed the questions to Mr. Moody, and he left already. Hang on. So the question is, how do you how do I find out what field I want to dive into doing in entrepreneurship? So how does he choose what kind of field? How can he go into and choose what field he wants to do in entrepreneurship? So could anyone from the three speakers left to start? Maybe we can start with Bu Ina.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ajeng. How do I found out what field I want to dive into entrepreneurship? First thing first, just find out what's your hobby. What's your I'm not going to say passion because you may be bored about you're maybe already boring when people say about entrepreneurship must be related to your passion, but that's not anymore. But I want to make a stretch point about hobby. So anything related to your hobby can be a business. So I remember around 10 years ago when I tried to negotiate with my mom and dad to buy a very good camera so I can start my business or having my own business as a photographer to open my studio photo at around probably 10 years ago. So that's my first thing that I can that I can share to you. Just find out your hobby, and then because when you start to love your hobby, or when you can start everything from your hobby, well, actually you will be interesting to do more. Like find your own community related to your hobby, and then you can find something that can make that can make you try to reach your business related to your hobby. Like for example, you will try your best to negotiate with your mother, with your father, and then with your everything to be your angel investor, first angel investor to give you funding so you can start your first business. I think that's my simple suggestions that was work for me.
Angel investor. Okay, that's a nice term. Dr. Malika, would you add? Would you like to add? And also as Dr. Shafuan?
Yeah, I would ask the person to ask this question first. Why you want to become an entrepreneur? What do you want to achieve by becoming an entrepreneur? Because what we can say with entrepreneurs, nowadays entrepreneurs, is not that they just want to sell the product or service, that's why they choose to become an entrepreneurs, or they want to give job to other people, that's why they want to become an entrepreneurs. Nowadays, we can see that entrepreneurs want to do something different, very different. Right? For example, if we take social entrepreneurs as an example, right? We can see that there are some entrepreneurs where they promote that if you buy one shoe, your another shoe will be donated to someone. So the idea here is the person become an entrepreneur is not to develop the business, but basically to try to help the other people. But here, these entrepreneurs, they don't want to go and ask for donation, don't want to go and ask for money. So they create a business model here where that business model will generate that charity intention, right? So this is one example. So what is important question is why we want to be entrepreneurs, what we want to achieve for the people, for the planet, for the economy. So that part has to be clear. So once we are clear of the main objective to become an entrepreneur, then we can design our business model in such a way to achieve that objective. If we could achieve that objective, that's when we will feel proud of ourselves, we will be happy, and then we will be very innovative to do better in whatever field that we select to do. Yeah, that's my input.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Would you like to add, Dr. Safuan, please?
Yeah, maybe the answer is what goal do you want? Yeah. What it's mean is you want to be what you want to be. You want to be entrepreneur. Yeah, okay. You can learn from the other entrepreneur first. Yeah. So and adjust or not not adjustment, but your so you can see your patient, yeah. So not everything you can well, go to sorry, to be an entrepreneur, but you can choose one entrepreneur. If you like one, and you can dive, or you can learn more from the expertise, and you can learn from many sources, from Google, from book. Yeah, maybe I think that's from me.
Thank you, Dr. Safuan. If I can add a little bit, just use the term ATM. ATM is amati tiru modifikasi, or observe, copy, and modify. So if you see something you like, you look at it, you change a little bit, you see how they make it, and use your creativity. All right. Before we go to the third questions, there is several questions that raised to me from the students asking, what is SAT points? How do I get SAT points? And what else I got? How can I get SAT points? So just a quick internal questions privately came to me. So you will get SAT points as you stay in this venue from the start until the end, and then you will be given a certificate, okay, based on your presence. So you have to put your name address, your number, what do you call it, your student number at the beginning, and then to make sure that you are here. And besides that, please do not forget to fill in the form of feedback for your speakers of today. So there are 4 speakers, and you have to put 4 feedbacks. You have to fill in 4 feedbacks. Okay, the feedbacks form is available at your chat by Wisnu, and please fill in the form. Okay, do not forget to fill in that form. Yeah, the feedback form. I hope there's no more questions on SAT points. There's no more questions on how to get it. Okay. Thank you, students. Now let's us go through our last questions. This is the last questions, Pawisno. It's so small that I cannot even read. I think this is our last question. So this comes from Rizky Ahmad Kurniawan. The question goes like this. My question would be on how to build resilience amongst our team employee upon demanding times, such as the COVID-19 pandemic. So how to build resilience among the team? Can we start with Dr. Safuan, or would you like to start with Dr. Maliga? That's okay. Or would you like maybe Ibu Ina comes first? It's okay with us. Who wants to go first? Ina is here? Is Ibu Ina here? Yes. Okay, Dr. Safuan, can you go first, please?
Okay.
How to build a resilience for teamwork?
Maybe first, you must trust your team. Yeah, you must trust your team and give them a change to get the opportunity. Yeah, opportunity. And maybe some people. Sorry, some not some people, but some boss, yeah, some boss not give them trust, yeah. So maybe the first thing, if we will build it, the good team is the trust for them, yeah, trust for them, and give them ability to doing the some tasks, yeah, some tasks, and we as the boss or the leader we must control, yeah, control them, yeah. So the first thing, you must trust them. I think that, yeah.
So thank you, Dr. Safwan. Trusting is number one, numero uno. You have to trust your friends. You have to trust your teammates. Because team is together, everyone achieve more. Now, let's get down to Professor Maliga. Let's hear from her terms of resilience in teammates.
Yeah, extending from that trust, we can see that a lot of organizations at this COVID, because the question focused on COVID here, we can see that a lot of organizations, they use the flexibility model by adopting strategies. So how they are managing this with the team and employees are, they try to do some changes to the role of the employees. There are a lot of things, for example, there are a lot of things that the organization want to do at normal time, but because they have been busy with their business, they never get the chance. So now they trust the employees and they try to be more organized with what they are doing so that they, once things get settled, they can pick up with the business very quickly. Or they are giving the, by having the trust, they are actually giving the opportunity for the employee to think about some solutions, some new ideas, become very creative, very innovative. A lot of business actually tap a lot of ideas from the employees at this point of pandemic time. So what is needed here is the organization need to trust the employee definitely. And second, they should be able to ready to adopt some new things. Because if they want to operate in the same way that they have been operating, they won't be able to achieve it. For example, if I look into a restaurant context, see, a lot of restaurant, they have to switch to takeaway at the time of pandemic. They're not able to serve the customer. So because they're not able to serve the customer, not all the menu will be able to be converted to takeaway. So they need to know what are the good food for takeaway. And they should see how they can actually use the employee skill, ask the chef to prepare the food in a way that it will be good for takeaway. It will last for 1 hour, 2 hours until it reaches the customer. Right? So this is where the chef has to bring some innovative creativity and tell that, okay, we can change our menu, we can change our ingredients, we can change the way that we pack the food so that by the time it reaches the hand of the customer, it will be still in a good quality, good taste. Right? So the adaptability is very important. If the restaurant want to remain with the same menu, same way of operating, same way of delivering the service to the customer, then they won't be able to survive. They will face a lot of difficulties. Yeah. So that's what I would recommend.
Thank you, Dr. Maliga. Ibu Ina. So trust, and then, yeah, please. You hear?
Yeah. So yeah, so
Right.
I think I just yeah, thank you. So I think I'm just going to completing what Dr. Maliga as well as Dr. Safwan already suggested about the.
Can you speak louder?
Questions?
We cannot hear you.
Oh.
Louder.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Thank you. I think I'm just going to do the completing what Dr. Maliga as well as Dr. Safwan already give the suggestions about these questions, especially about if you want your employee trust you, so you have to be a trustable company as well. You have to be a trustable company as well, especially for your employee. So I always remember what my lecturer said in my entrepreneur class back in my master and my bachelor degree. They always say that if you want to serve your customer best, you have to give the best service first for your employee. So when you want your employee trust you, so you have to be trustable. First is your employee trust first. So how can you be a trustable company? Just be honest from the beginning. You make or build your own company. So always be honest, and then when an emergent situations like this pandemic happens, you can say honestly that how is your conditions, and then you can make them involved, or at least give you suggestions or give you inputs what they want. For example, give them also please also give your team or your employee to speak up about what they want. If they still want to work with the company, and then you say, okay, we can still run this company in this pandemic, but with some of with some things that is need to be adjusted, so we can be survive through this pandemic. Like for example, okay, we can still doing this business, but maybe until 1 year ahead, we have to adjust with your salary, for example, or with your bonus. But when we get back on track on the next year after the pandemic, like we can make your we can make everything over normal. Especially, for example, we can make the normal salary or bonus salary and etc. Just try to be honest with what happened in your company. Well, actually, you still need to filter, or you still need to choose what kind of information that can be freely shared, which is not. So I think that's from my perspective. Thank you, Dr. Raja.
Thank you, Ibu Ina. So honesty is the best policy. Yeah. Besides, you have to trust each other. You have to listen to each other in the team and everything. Okay, that was really fantastic. All the terms and all the tips given from each of the speakers on things on entrepreneurship, leadership. So now, besides there's no more questions, maybe I don't have to sum up because it was really fantastic to listen to all the tips, all the what do you call it, expertise and the competence that each one of the speaker has given. So now I think it's better that we have to take a picture. Yeah, let's have a picture taken.
Yeah.
Siapa? Pak Wisnu or
Yeah.
Pak? Can we have a picture taking right now?
Okay. Kindly activate your camera so I can take a group picture through the slides.
Yes. So everybody's on the video. We have video cam on, so we can have a picture together.
Okay. Excuse me. This may take a while since we have 12 pages here.
Oh, we have 12 pages. Okay.
12 pages. Okay.
Very nice.
So okay, the first page. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay. Wait.
I have not closed the venue yet. I will take picture first.
Okay, hold on. Okay. The second page. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you. And next page. Third page. 1, 2, 3. Next page. 1, 2, 3. The fifth one.
While taking picture, I have to greet all my speakers. It's been a very extensive, informative, and insightful presentations from all of you. And it's been an honor to have all of the three and the fourth actually speaker here today. And we hope to see each other again in the future in another venue. And I hope all my students here with us today learn many things from you. Okay, thank you for to be in this what do you call it, sessions of the SDGs leadership. What's the title today of today's venue anyway? And I hope that all the certificates will be given to all of you as the speakers, and we'll see each other again in the next venue. next year. Thank you. So, Pak Safuan, I think you have to leave because we
Happy
have
Diwali Day.
yeah, happy
Dr.
Diwali
Maliga.
also for you. Yeah, Dr. Maliga,
Happy,
true.
yeah, happy Diwali, Dr. Maliga.
Thank you.
And we create research together, yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, that was very nice.
Dr. Maliga, we can collaborate research,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, we should keep in contact.
Okay,
Oh, sure,
Really nice evening to everyone. Thank you, everyone. Wish you all.
It's gonna be winter. Yeah,
Thank you,
it's gonna be winter soon in Australia, right?
No, it's summer. Going to be summer.
Oh, it's yeah, going to be summer. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comdev. Thank you very much, Dr. Ajang, Dr. Safwan.
Pak Wisnu, did we have all? Pak Wisnu, did we have all the pictures already taken?
Yeah. Okay. I'm done.
You're done? You're done?
Okay.
Sorry.
Please
Because we're running out of time. Anyway, so because we have 293 participants today. Yeah, almost 300. I was expecting 1,000 actually. That was, yeah. Unfortunately, Mudid left already. Yeah, Mr. Mudid left already. That was, yeah. So you reside in Australia, Dr. Maliga?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm originally from Malaysia.
You're Malaysian. Okay. So what do you teach in what do you call it, in Latrobe right now? Just now?
Mostly I'm teaching marketing subjects. The one that I'm currently teaching is sustainable management and marketing for postgraduate students. So that subject is all about embedding sustainability development goals into management and marketing content.
Okay, that's very nice. I'm from the Faculty of Economics and Communications actually, but I teach. I'm a lecturer at Ibu Ina's department, and yeah, I work from another faculty. Yeah, Faculty of Economics and Communications. So Ibu Ina is in global business management. Yeah.
Great. We should see any opportunity to collaborate and work together.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Can I reach you out through your email?
Yeah, I have provided my email address on my slides.
I see. I got it. Yeah.
Circulation is on the first slide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sip.
Feel free to reach me.
I'll contact you as soon as possible. Yeah.
Yes, look forward.
My research is mostly on women entrepreneurs. So women entrepreneur, women gender issues, those areas, anything that got to do with women. So it's my concentration. Even with peer studies, with fintech. Fintech, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we can get together, all four of us.
I need to share thing. I think I need to go first because I've already been outside for too long.
Yeah.
I think I want to go back inside the house. Okay.
Right, take care.
Again,
okay,
Dr.
thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ajang. Thank you.
Thank you, Bu Ina. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pak Wisnu. Thank you, Pak Hasan. True. Thank you, Ibu Yani, Ibu Retno.
The speakers, Dr. Maliga, Dr. Safwan, and Ibu Ina.
Thank you, Mr. Wisnu.
Sorry if there is a mess in things. Maybe I rushed too much.
No, that was really fine. That was really smooth.
It's really good. It's really good.
I have what do you call it? A meeting, right? Another meeting in Zoom with a professor from Lancaster University at 5:00. So now it's 4:25 here in Jakarta. So we're also inviting various professors from various universities that relates to the Faculty of Economics and Communications.
Doctor,
we have
I think we should make a connection with La Trobe University.
Yeah, sure. We can have even with Jayabaya.
Yeah.
Even with Jayabaya, yes, of course, we can do something. We can have a webinar together in other sessions, of course. Maybe in related issues like this, or this is very delicate issues where all the students might probably like to listen because it's on entrepreneurship. But when we get down to a very specific and more selective topics, like maybe as like Ina was mentioning about consumer behavior, how would the behavior of students, let's say, would behave, and their purchase behavior during this pandemic era, or maybe what is actually very reluctant right now with this pandemic era, especially during when they have their online sessions, food, what kind of food it's being served, or like drinks, or what are the attempts that might probably be applicable if they are on the sessions on a link on Zoom sessions. These are not yet being developed. People,
that sounds very interesting. Maybe we can call for a session and we can discuss
That's right.
how we can go into a niche area.
Yeah, exactly. And we can have a collaborative how do you call it, what sort of process we can use, what kind of what do you call it, analysis we can use. Like, for example, what theory, the theory is there. It's just the attempt, how do you call it, the terms, I forgot the terms. Chapter 3, how do you call that, chapter 3?
Methodology.
So what kind of methodology? I forgot the words. So what kind of methodology you want to use? Yeah, that's very. Yeah, you have Dr. Safuran has hundreds of students. So are you, and so am I. So we can use the resources to be our respondents. That would be nice.
Interesting. Currently, I'm doing some research on a smart service.
Yeah, smart service also. Sure.
Which is applicable even in a economic finance as well.
Please leave your email address maybe in the chat. I will leave you my
Dr. Maliga
email address.
Has also expertise in
my email address on my paper, my slide.
All right.
And
I think we already have been included in the email that Pak Hasan sent recently.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So sign up there. Yeah. Anyway, it's been a very extensive and interesting experience for me to moderate for you, and I'm very glad. Maybe we can have a competition within our students. We can have a project with our students. Would be also nice. And with the help of ComDev, Community Development, to be the center of the receipt. I'm talking about the venue moderator. This can be realized in the near future.
Okay.
So a tripartite of Binus, and then Jayabaya and Latrop would be interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yes, because we are very extensive. Our center, we have many centers, and community development has been very helpful, and they really reach out to their audience. They have thousands of entrepreneurs, small scale entrepreneurs that's been developed by Pa Wisnu and Pa Hasan, and also Ibu Yani and Ibu Herlina under the management of Ibu Retno. So how many small, medium skills you need? They have them all. Yeah, and we develop them because we have our teaching. Part of our teaching wisdom is to be able to to extend our informations, our ideas to the community. Yeah. Anyway, if you have any other sessions in Latrobe University, you might probably invite us. Ibu Retno, me, Ibu Ina, and Pa Wisnu, and everyone. We are very glad to help you on this. Okay, without much ado, I have to leave also. It's been 4:30 now. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the sessions. Thank you for to have me today here. Dr. Thank you. All the best to you, Dr. Safuan, Dr. Maliga. It's been a pleasure to know you. Yes. Pa Wisnu, Pa Hasan, And students, thank you. See you again. See you again. Thank you. Bye. Happy Diwali.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.